Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to Vidyarthi Pro learning platform. I am Shweta Malti and today we are discussing about very important multiple choice questions for your exams like BCom, BBA, LLB, LLM, CPT, NET, UPHESC, UPPSC and UPSC and many other entrance examination papers. And for today our topic is the Indian Contract Act 1872 of the subject business law. So our first question is when the Indian Contract Act came into the force. Option A 1st September 1972, option B September 1 1872, option C September 1 1882 से पहले या option D 1st September 1872 के बाद. Any guesses? Okay, so the correct answer is September 1 1872. बिकॉज जो इंडियन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्ट 1872 था वो दैट वाज इनैक्टेड ऑन 25th अप्रैल 1872 एंड सब्सिक्वेंटली केम इनटू द फोर्स ऑन 1st September 1872. सो एंड ये सबसे ओल्डेस्ट मर्केंटाइल लॉ ऑफ द कंट्री भी है. आवर नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज द इंडियन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्ट वॉज एक्सटेंडेड. Option A all over India, option B in all states of India excluding Jammu and Kashmir, option C only in Jammu and Kashmir, or option D in all states of India excluding Assam. And the right answer is option A all over the India. Actually ये एक्ट ब्रिटिश के टाइम में पास हुआ था and this is based on the principles of English common law. This act is applicable to whole India including Jammu and Kashmir. पहले ये जम्मू एंड कश्मीर में नहीं एप्लीकेबल था बट आफ्टर रिमूवल ऑफ आर्टिकल 370 मतलब जब से केंद्र सरकार ने 5 अगस्त 2019 को जम्मू कश्मीर से धारा 370 को ख़त्म कर दिया था एंड देन दिस एक्ट इज़ ऑल्सो एप्लीकेबल इन जम्मू एंड कश्मीर. एंड नेक्स्ट मैं बात करना चाहूँगी अबाउट द इंडियन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्ट डील्स अंडर विच ब्रांच ऑफ लॉ. ऑप्शन ए कॉमर्शियल, ऑप्शन बी इंटरनेशनल, ऑप्शन सी साइबर या ऑप्शन डी नन ऑफ द अबव. And the right answer is commercial branch of law because contract law is the central to any business as it governs to any transaction the business makes with other parties including for the sale of goods or supply of services. According to this act, contract contain agreed and legally enforceable commercial rights and obligations between the both the parties. So the Indian Contract Act deals under the commercial branch of law. Our next question is an agreement जो enforceable है by law is what? Option A enforceable acceptance, option B accepted offer, option C approved promise या option D contract. Okay, any guesses? According to the section 2 subsection H of Indian Contract Act, an agreement enforceable by law is called a contract. In simple words, we can say that a contract is equal to agreement plus enforceability. Therefore, option D contract is the correct answer. So our next question is contract is equals to which of the following equation? Option A agreement plus consideration, option B agreement plus offer, option C agreement plus enforceable by law, or option D none of the above. And the correct answer is contract is equal to agreement plus enforceability, that is option C. As you all know, these selected questions are very important for your examinations like BCom, BBA, LLB, LLM, CPT, NET, UPHESC, UPPSC and UPSC and many other entrance examination papers. And our next question is what are the essential elements of a valid contract? Option A, they are made by free consent. Option B, lawful consideration and lawful object. Option C, are made by competent parties. Option D, all of the above. And the right answer is option D, all of the above. According to the section 10 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, to create a valid contract कुछ essential elements होते हैं जो कि बहुत important होते हैं, that are as follows. Number 1 agreement, number 2 free consent, number 3 competency of the parties, number 4 lawful consideration, number 5 legal object, number 6 not expressly declared to be void. These 6 are the very important elements, very essential elements for the valid contract. Okay, so Computer G, next question please. And our next question is, every promise and every set of promises forming the consideration for each other is known as option A agreement, option B contract, option C offer and option D acceptance. और इस सवाल का सही जवाब है ऑप्शन ए एग्रीमेंट, क्योंकि एज पर सेक्शन 2 सबसेक्शन ई every promise and every set of promises forming the consideration for each other is an agreement. In simple words हम ये भी कह सकते हैं कि agreement is equal to offer plus acceptance. And इसी के साथ बढ़ते हैं अपने अगले सवाल पे, that is promises which form the consideration or part of the consideration for each other are called what? Any guesses? Options: option 1 reciprocal promises, option 2 cross offers, option 3 conditional offers and option 4 conditional promises. And the correct answer for this question is option A reciprocal promises. As per section 2 subsection F of Indian Contract Act 1872, promises which form the consideration or part of the consideration for each other are called reciprocal promises. And our next question is, an agreement not enforceable by law is stated to be void under which of the following section? Option 1 section 2 subsection D, option B section 2 subsection E, option C section 2 subsection F, option D section 2 subsection G. And the correct answer is option D section 2 subsection G. For example, Mr. X ने मिस्टर वाई से कहा कि आप शादी नहीं करो एंड आई विल गिव यू ₹50,000 फॉर दिस एग्रीमेंट, ओके. एंड आफ्टर रिसीविंग द मनी ऑफर्ड बाय मिस्टर एक्स, मिस्टर वाई इज वेरी चालाक and he gets married to to C. X cannot recover here. X cannot recover the amount given to Mr. Y because as this agreement is not enforceable by law, because ये agreement law के अंडर में enforceable नहीं है, because restraint in marriage of a major person is a void agreement and not enforceable by law. So this is the correct example of the void agreement, and this is mentioned under the section 2 subsection G of the Indian Contract Act 1872. It is an agreement and not enforceable by law is stated to be void under which of the following sections? Answer is section 2 subsection G. And our next question is, a proposal when accepted becomes what? Option 1 promise under section 2 subsection B, option 2 agreement under section 2 subsection E, option C contract under section 2 subsection H, option D none of the above. And the correct answer for this question is option A promise under the section 2 subsection B. So a proposal when accepted becomes a promise under section 2 subsection B. For example, if एक बंदा है Mr. X and he shows his willingness before Y to sell his book for ₹500, यहाँ पे X ने ऑफर किया Mr. Y को to sell the book. When Y accepts that offer, it becomes a promise, and for both the parties, for Mr. X and for Mr. Y, ₹500 and the book is the consideration. Okay. So our next question is, when at the desire of the promiser, the promisee or any other person has done or abstained from doing or promises to do or abstained from doing something, such act or absentence or promise under section 2 subsection D is what? Option 1 reciprocal promise, option B consideration for the promise, option C counter offer, option D acceptance. And the right answer is, any guesses? Okay, option B consideration for the promise. Consideration for the promise is the right answer. That means agreement जिस motive, return और result के लिए करते हैं उसे consideration बोलते हैं. For example, if I agree to sell my books for ₹500, my return will be ₹500 and your motive to enter an agreement is to get a book. Hence book आपका consideration and ₹500 मेरा consideration है. If you still have any doubt and any question, please mention your doubts and queries in the comment section below. And our next question is, every promise or set of promises forming the consideration for each other under section 2 subsection E is called what? Option 1 reciprocal promises, option 2 contract, option 3 agreement, and option 4 none of the above. As we all know, every promise and every set of promises forming the consideration for each other is an agreement. Therefore, option C, agreement, is the correct answer. In Hindi, agreement means समझौता या सहमति और डील भी कह सकते हैं. An agreement has been defined by section 2 subsection E of the Indian Contract Act 1872 as every promise and every set of promises forming the consideration for each other is an agreement. An agreement is an understanding or arrangement reached between two or more parties. And our next question is, an agreement enforceable by law at instance of one party and not of other party under section 2 subsection I is called what? Option 1, a valid agreement. Option 2, an illegal contract. Option 3, a void contract. And option D, avoidable contract. And the correct answer is option D, avoidable contract. According to the section 2 subsection I of the Indian Contract Act defines an agreement which is enforceable by law at the option of one or more of the parties thereto, but not at the option of others, or others is avoidable contract. एंड इसी के साथ हमारा अगला सवाल ये रहा स्क्रीन पर. Which one is the correct option from the following? Option A, proposal plus acceptance is equal to promise. Option B, promise plus consideration is equal to agreement. Option C, agreement plus enforceability is equal to contract. And option D, all of the above. And the correct answer for this question is option D, all of the above. Under section 2 subsection B of the Indian Contract Act defines promise is that is a proposal when accepted becomes a promise. And इसी एक्ट के तहत अंडर सेक्शन 2 सबसेक्शन ई आता है जो होता है एग्रीमेंट दैट डिफाइंस एवरी प्रॉमिस एंड एवरी सेट ऑफ प्रोमिसेस फॉर्मिंग द कंसिडरेशन फॉर ईच अदर इज एन एग्रीमेंट. एंड इसी एक्ट में अंडर द सेम सेक्शन एंड द सबसेक्शन एच डिफाइंस contract. An agreement that is enforceable by law is only a contract. So our next question is under section 2 subsection C, who is the promiser? Option 1, a person who makes the proposal, मतलब जिसने proposal रखा है. A person who accepts the proposal, जिसने proposal accept किया है. Option 3, person who makes the promise. Or option D, person to whom the proposal is made. Any guesses? Okay, so let's skip to the answer part. According to the section 2 subsection C of the Indian Contract Act 1872, the person making the proposal is called the promiser, and the person who is accepting the proposal is called the promisee. For example, अगर मैं promise करूँ कि I'll help you for all your queries regarding this question series as soon as possible, so I am the promiser. मैं promiser हूँ and आपने जब भी मेरा ये proposal accept किया, so you are the promisee. Okay. So let's focus to our next question जो कि इसी से related है for आपके clear and better understanding के लिए. Under the section 2 subsection C, who is the person known as promisee? Option A, a person who makes the proposal, a person who accepts the proposal, a person who makes the promise. And the option D is a person to whom the proposal is made. According to the section 2 subsection C of the Indian Contract Act, the person making the proposal is called the promiser, and the person accepting the proposal is known as the promisee. And our next question is, which contract is known as a contract in which only one party has to perform his or her obligations is known as which of the following options? इस सेंटेंस में ऑब्लिगेशन का मतलब है दायित्व, जिम्मेदारी. ओके, सो there are the 4 options. Option 1, void contract. Option 2, unilateral contract. Option 3, illegal contract. Or option 4, bilateral contract. Okay, so the correct answer for this question is the unilateral contract. A unilateral contract is one-sided contract. It is a contract in which only one party has to fulfill his obligations at the time of the formation of the contract. फॉर एग्जाम्पल मिस्टर कुमार ने अपनी बिल्ली खो दी एंड ही ऑफर्स रमेश ₹500 कि वो उसकी कैट को फाइंड आउट ढूंढ कर दें. दिस इज़ द यूनिलेटरल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट बिकॉज मिस्टर कुमार इज़ ओनली ऑब्लिगेटेड टू पे ₹500 and only if Ramesh finds the lost cat. However, Ramesh is under an obligation to find the lost cat. Okay, so यहाँ पे बिल्ली पाओ पैसा पाओ वाली सिचुएशन है. जैसे कि आप अब सब जानते हो कि ये सारी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ भी अब MCQ पैटर्न पे शिफ्ट हो गए हैं फॉर द सेमेस्टर एग्ज़ाम्स टू. सो ये सभी सेलेक्टेड क्वेश्चन सीरीज़ आपके एग्ज़ाम्स के लिए बहुत ही ज़्यादा हेल्पफुल होने वाले हैं. And in this context of question series, our next question is contract in which obligation is outstanding on both the parties is called what? Number 1 void contract, number 2 unilateral contract, number 3 illegal contract, or number 4 bilateral contract. And the correct answer for this question is option D, bilateral contract. Bilateral contract are binding agreements between two parties in which both parties guarantee to perform their promises. As in our previous question, unilateral contract, there is only one person who is willing to pay and only the person who have to perform his obligations. And in this case of bilateral contract, both the parties have to perform their promises. For example, any sales agreement. Suppose a car buyer may agree to pay the seller a certain amount of money in exchange for the title to the car. The seller agrees to deliver the car title in exchange for the specified sale amount. So यहाँ पे seller और जो buyer purchase कर रहा है जो sale कर रहा है वो दोनों ही अपने अपने promises को perform करने के लिए अपने promises को perform करेंगे and then this contract is known as bilateral contract. And our next question in this series is A and B enters into a contract to marry each other before the time fixed for marriage. A goes mad and the contract becomes what? Void, valid, illegal, or voidable. And the correct answer for this question is a void agreement because according to the section 56 in the Indian Contract Act 1872, an agreement to do an act impossible in itself is a void. कोई भी एग्रीमेंट जिसका एक्ट जो परफॉर्मेंस होता है वो इम्पॉसिबल हो, फॉर एग्जांपल चांद तारे तोड़ लाना या कुछ ऐसे जो पॉसिबल नहीं है एक ह्यूमन बीइंग के लिए, वो अपने आप में ही वॉइड एग्रीमेंट होता है. सो दिस इज़ एन एग्जांपल ऑफ वॉइड एग्रीमेंट. And our next question is a contract made by words either written or oral is called what? Number 1 express contract, number 2 tacit contract, number 3 implied contract, or number 4 unlawful contract. And the correct answer for this question is the number 1 express contract. So any proposal or acceptance of any promise made in words, either in written form or in an oral form, the promise is said to be express contract. Or in the proposals which are accepted other than words is a implied contract. फॉर एग्ज़ाम्पल अगर हम कोई भी एग्रीमेंट बोल के या लिख के उसको साइन करके करते हैं तो वो एक एक्सप्रेस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट का एग्जाम्पल हो सकता है. एंड इम्प्लाइड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर हम जा रहे हैं कहीं पे भी और हम ऐसे हाथ दिखाते हैं फिर ऑटो रुक जाता है, दिस इज़ द एग्जाम्पल ऑफ इम्प्लाइड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. दैट इज़ अ प्रपोजल और एक्सेप्टेंस इज मेड अदरवाइज दैन इन वर्ड्स. वर्ड्स के बिना हमने अपने एक्शंस से, विदाउट वर्ड्स हमने ये जो प्रपोजल ऑफर किया फिर एक्सेप्ट हो गया एंड देन वी आर इन अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, दिस इज़ इम्प्लाइड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. Okay, so these are the some very important selected examination questions for all of you aspirants. Thank you so much for all your love and attention. Please mention your topic recommendations in the comment section below for the upcoming videos. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you. Bye bye.